people to kind of come in.
Yeah.
So, are you are you still trying to grind the main, or are you just kind of
I
playing?
haven't had any motivation to do it these last couple weeks. It's just the game is it's felt kind of stale to me recently, but you
Mhm.
typically when it feels like it gets stale to me, I usually switch to other games, but I haven't even wanted to do that lately. So that's why I've just been playing mostly on like alt accounts on stream. There's been a couple times where I'll play on my main, but yeah, ever since the new season started and like the soft SR reset, I just haven't had any like motivation to grind it, but I'm thinking about doing it soon just because I need to get it like top 500s out, and usually whenever it comes out, I'm on there like as soon as it comes out. So it's something I'll get around to doing.
Now, I have called you the Junkrat Torb God. Is that incorrect, or is that do you play? But you do play a lot of Torb and Junkrat, right?
I do, yeah. It all started when I was on console. Is when I first started playing Torb and Junkrat a lot, just because it was there was aim assist and
Yeah.
it was a lot easier to aim. I mean, you don't really have to aim with Junkrat really, but I like to think that I'm good with my math sometimes, so I get a little extra value out of Junkrat. But yeah, they were two of my main heroes when I played Overwatch on console, and then I switched over to Zarya during Goats meta, and I ended up getting like top 500 on console, which pretty much prompted the switch over to PC because I was like, I want to play with actual better players, and I knew that most better players were on PC.
Hang on, I'm getting yelled at in my own chat. Hang on. Okay. So, all right. So we got people coming in again. So, welcome everybody. Um, Eclipse, you act like that's a surprise that it takes me longer than 2 days to set something up. Uh, so, just like 2 months, it won't be 2 months, but it it won't be today. um, but at any rate, so welcome back everybody. We are now in the 34th episode of Yawn After Dark, Meet the Streamer, and we have another awesome guest. We have OhReign, or Cass, some of you all might know him. And as always, we start off with letting the guest introduce themselves because nobody can do it better than the person who is on. So go ahead, Cass, and yeah, take a moment.
All right, well, I'm usually pretty bad at self introductions because I never really know what to say. But yeah, my name's Cass. I prefer to go by Rain if anything. It's just Rain isn't available on Twitch, so I go by OhReign. Um, I'm 24. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio. I've been streaming for almost a year now, and outside of when I'm not streaming, I typically like to work out or honestly, sleep's my go-to thing. I love to sleep like pretty much anytime I can. Um, Super exciting stuff I know, but yeah, that's pretty much kind of like just basic stuff about me.
Dude, sleep's amazing. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, I know. Trust
so,
me, I know.
so how long? Out of curiosity, I'm getting back into weightlifting myself. How long have you been lifting weights? Did you do it for a sport or?
I played sports until eighth grade, or like until after eighth grade, and then once I got to high school, I decided I didn't really want to do it. Because I don't know, I was like lazy my first couple years in high school, and I thought about doing it junior year. I never played sports in high school, which was like my only regret of doing so. And then after the fact, like after I graduated, I got really into weightlifting. So I've been doing it for like three, I think almost 4 years now.
Okay. Do you do any like powerlifting stuff or?
Um, it's weird. I've never really had like any specific goal for the most part. Like other than some people do it just to kind of like maintain a physique or like stay in shape. But well, I remember when I first started doing it, I got obsessed with like like some bodybuilders, and because I would constantly watch their stuff. So there was one point in time where I was like, I just want to be as big as I can and lift as much as I can. So I guess that honestly was kind of my more like ideal thing to do. So I guess you could say kind of bodybuilding, but I don't do any like actual like meets for powerlifting or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, dyslexia. He said Cincinnati, Ohio. So, uh, but every time I think of anything with Ohio, I think of Cleveland rocks. Um,
Cincinnati's the best city.
so yeah, I've been up there. Been up there a couple of times. We used to live in Indianapolis, so
Oh, really?
Cincinnati wasn't that far away.
Yeah, it's relatively close.
So um, we used to go watch when the Cincinnati Reds would play against the St. Louis Cardinals and stuff. We would go because my family's originally from St. Louis, so
Oh, I got
yeah,
you.
it's indoctrinated that we have to be Cardinals fans. So, um, but we had talked about this a little bit before we started up the stream, so now I gotta rehash and ask you the same question. What got you into streaming?
Um, I've always been wanting to, as for as long as I can remember, like once I first started, like actually got into like competitive FPS games, I always wanted to like kind of make content, but I never really had like the means of doing so, whether that be like a capture card or whatever. And since I was on console, I was like, there's really no point in streaming because like you need to have a better setup, you need to be on PC. So I've always been interested and wanted to do it because I've been following like content creators and stuff for a while now. Um, and once I switched over to PC, it was something that I just was committing myself to because if possible, I don't know how. Obviously, I know it takes time to like gain a following, but at some point, like down the road, um, if it could become a day job, I would obviously love that, which is
All right.
kind of like what I'm slowly working towards, if possible. And I did 2 years in college before I just like started this, and I'm not a big fan of school. Um, so I figured I'd rather give streaming a shot and see where it could take me than to finish college and to have never tried like streaming at all or anything like that. So I'd rather try something and fail than to never have tried at it at all.
No, and I completely agree. I have the same mindset, so I can definitely appreciate that. What was your major in college?
Um, I was like pretty much most normal kids coming out of high school, so I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I just picked business, and it was one of the most boring things in the entire world. But I think I started as a marketing major, and then I switched to accounting, and then I switched back to marketing. So,
Okay, I gotcha. No, 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 no. That's very common that people switch back and forth several times.
right, yeah,
I started out as a biology major going into med school, and then I turned around and got an English degree, so I don't know what the hell happened.
right.
But
That's a complete 180.
yeah, yeah, I went from going to be a doctor to writing about health problems. Uh, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Um, but what when you first came to Twitch, was that the original goal was to stream, or did you just kind of hang out in other channels, or
I used to just hang out in other channels. Like I wouldn't, I would be the person who was just like kind of lurking and just, watching for content, never really would like interact with chat. And then I kind of decided like I could be doing this. Like, why not give it a shot? So,
and with I always like to ask this question because I think it's very pertinent um, to hearing, especially for people that are newer to it. Were you always an extroverted person, or were you more introverted, or
I would like to think I was very extroverted. It wasn't until I guess recently, like once since I've gotten bigger into streaming, like wanting to grow my stream more. I used to go out all the time. I like to think I was fairly, I don't know, I was really social in high school, and then that only elevated once I got to college. I was pretty much out like every weekend somewhere doing something with my friends, and it wasn't pretty much until kind of recently over the last year that I think that I'd become more of an introvert now than of what I used to be because I used to be super social and like outgoing.
okay? It's interesting how you're not the only one to have said that. That several people have kind of said that they become a little bit more introverted as they've been streaming and stuff. I think that's kind of interesting. With regards to Twitch, though, did you start in the Overwatch community, or did you go to other communities first?
You mean like where I started watching or what I just started off
What were you
streaming?
watching? What were you watching?
I used to watch Nick Merckx a lot play Call of Duty because Call of Duty was my first pretty much FPS that I ever, or one of the first FPS games I ever played. So I pretty much started off watching Nick Merckx, and then I learned of more popular Overwatch streamers like DeFran and people like that. And I became obsessed with Overwatch, and then I would nonstop like watch DeFran and other popular Overwatch streamers.
Okay. So you're a big fan of the Let's Grow dude.
Yeah, yeah, he's super entertaining to watch.
So kind of leading into what you were then talking about, what got you into Overwatch?
One of my friends actually on console hit me up. He's like, "Hey, there's this new game that came out. It's called Overwatch. You should try it." And I wasn't really interested in it at the time. I remember, I think I first played it season two, and if I'm not wrong, I placed like Diamond or something on console, and like that was as far as I had touched it. And I didn't really get into it until like season five because a lot of my friends actually got the game.
Okay.
And we would I'm sorry, yeah, we
No,
would
no, you're
pretty
fine.
much just like hard grind like in season five on console because we would all like get out of school and we would, do whatever afterwards. And then we would just pretty much play for hours and hours in a stack on Overwatch.
It's interesting because just the interview with Marlia, she had mentioned that she got started season six. So um, uh, it's for me personally, as somebody that came kind of later into the Overwatch scene too. It's kind of good to hear that I wasn't the only one to get on the train, so to speak,
Right,
later
yeah.
on. Um, and when you switched from console to PC, I remember how much trouble I had. Was that the first major FPS you'd played on the PC?
Yeah, I literally just I got a PC, I downloaded Overwatch, and I immediately tried to start playing it. And I remember I was a tank player on console, and
Mm-hmm.
I was so unfamiliar with using the keyboard that I legit was using my controller still and playing Reinhardt in competitive games. And then I was like, well, this is dumb. Like I'm never gonna get used to this if I never, actually practice on the keyboard. So I ended up putting it away. I would bust it out for the memes every now and then. But other than that, yeah, it was hard switching over at first because I was so unfamiliar and like there was no aim assist. So that was the weirdest part to it. Like I didn't even know that you could change the DPI on your mouse when I first switched over to PC. So like that's how unfamiliar I was with everything.
No, I completely sympathize. I remember I don't know if you had to do this, but every 5 seconds or so, I'd be unsure where the WASD keys were, so like I had
Oh,
to like
yeah,
look down, like am I going right? Like I,
right.
um, with with making that transition though, is it kind of like with everybody else now that you've done it? You're like I can't. It's so weird to use a joystick and
Yeah,
control.
it's very odd now. Like go back to controller, especially because the controller that I used to use, like yeah, there's the buttons on the top of the controller, but I had a special one with paddles on the back. So
Hmm.
yeah, now because it would be easier to aim and you could still do your movement as well. But yeah, it's super. Yeah, I can't go back to controller after switching. It just feels too weird to me.
And you said a moment ago when we were talking, you said you got top 500 on console on Zarya during Goat's
Yeah,
Meta. Um, but Goat's Meta was after season five, so you were still playing
right.
console for
Yeah.
quite a while. Okay, so what season did you switch to PC?
I can actually check right now. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I first came over season 14 of on PC. That was my first actual season on the Overwatch.
Okay. And once you had kind of switched over, um, was that when you'd given more and more thought to streaming?
Yeah, that was something I definitely wanted. I ended up wanting to like go towards, but I wanted to make sure that I was actually like good at the game, or like quote unquote good at the game before I started streaming, because I didn't want to be, I was like, who wants to watch plat games or diamond games? So I wanted to make sure I was at least like
Wait a minute
high
now.
masters in GM.
Wait a
No,
minute.
I'm not saying I'm not
No,
trying to
no,
offend anybody or anything,
no,
but
I'm joking. Let's go. I'll go cry in Diamond. No, it's okay. I took off for a while. Um,
yeah.
with Overwatch though, so like what? So you've played in Goat's meta, and you've played. We're just gonna skip over Double Shield, and you've played the resurgence of dive and all that stuff. What has been your favorite meta as a DPS player?
Goats.
Goats.
Go.
Okay.
I would most prefer if the game literally went back to goats meta. I would. I think that was one of the best meta. Like, it was super boring to watch. Like, don't get me wrong. Like when Overwatch League was goats, it was literally the most boring thing because it would be Grav, Earth Shatter, Diva Bomb, Trance. Like, it would be six alts all at the same time, and it was literally whoever got more value than the other team. And it was so boring to watch, but it was so fun to play.
Right. Well, and I honestly I completely agree with that because for me personally, I think that you described it uh, perfectly. Boring to watch, it was a blast to play. I think it's a lot like chess in a lot of
Right.
ways. Like, I used to be able to play chess all day long. I could never watch chess. I could read books on
Yeah.
chess, but I could never watch it.
Right.
Um, so, and I think a lot of people with goats too. I think a lot of people miss and I'm not trying to denigrate anybody, but I think a lot of people in gold, plat, diamond miss the intricacies of the cooldown management because a lot of times
Right.
what would happen is because we were still pre-roll queue, people would either run goats and not know how to run it and then get destroyed by, you know, 5 DPS that were playing things that they knew how to play, and then they were like,
Right.
"Oh no, goat sucks. I don't
Yeah.
see the value of goats." Or they would play it up until they ran against a team that knew how to play it, some Smurf six stack or something like that, and then they'd be like, "Oh, all right, this game sucks again.
Yeah.
This is overrated. Nerf goats, get rid of it." Um, but I think that with in particular, at least from my standpoint, in particular, what was so intriguing about goats was it was one of the first times. I mean, people keep saying the old they spam in chat the old MTD, the main tank difference. But I think more so than any other meta was goats was the main tank difference. if your
Exactly.
if your Rhine didn't stay alive, you basically lost the team fight. Like
Yeah,
there
because then
was
they would just speed into you and you just die. You'd have to wipe.
Yeah, and he was also one of your higher sources of damage, which was kind of
Yeah.
funny. And that's what people didn't realize when they were, the value of goats is that what is it, 75 times 6, 450. Yeah, so he's getting 450 damage a swing. I mean, you could build ult in 4 seconds. I mean,
Right.
it was it was pretty in the fire strike value. Even if it didn't kill people, it was far more. And a lot of people don't realize too that was the last time that we saw a good meta with Zen.
Yeah.
um, you know, and now poor Zen is just kind of floating out in the nether. you know.
I will lock Zenyatta in my support games, and I have no shame about it.
Well,
He was the first hero I ever played because I was like, oh, I can do damage and I can heal at the same time. It's literally perfect.
yeah. Well,
So
what Overwatch to me, one of the things that always kind of bugs me is that Overwatch, the balance team especially, they don't understand. It's not just what makes a hero strong and what makes a hero weak. They don't understand what makes heroes fun. I feel a lot of times.
yeah,
Um, it's like Winston. There's nothing more fun than pulling off a great dive, and it's not getting slept 5 times to get headshot by a Reaper with Discord. When you
yeah,
have Discord.
exactly.
So I mean, it's what makes things fun and what makes things uh, not fun in particular. And so we were talking about Junkrat, Torb, and I personally I don't have a whole lot of experience on Junkrat, but I love Torb. I've always loved Torb.
Oh yeah.
Um,
It's just like this the he's so short and like he's just a small hero, but he does so much if you use him right.
well, people say that he doesn't uh, people say that he doesn't have like a strong point or not, but I wonder if in this meta he actually does since Reaper is so good. Reaper and Sombra. Um, because of I know that Sombra can hack your turret,
Right.
but at the same time, using that turret kind of as a flank detector, um,
Exactly.
And then with Reaper, I think Torb kind of shits on Reaper, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's just if you miss those shotgun right clicks, especially now after they tone down the fire rate, but they up the damage. If you miss that and like you're going 1v1 up against the Reaper, the Reaper is probably gonna win majority of the time because he has that self heal too. But so if you don't have overload and you're doing a 1v1 against the Reaper, it's definitely a hard fight to win. It's possible if you hit your shots, but I like to think Torb gets a little more value because of the turret and because his area alt. I think it can be a lot more effective than Reaper alt if used properly.
It's funny because Torb is one of the heroes that, in my opinion, the balance changes that they made to him. Well, I guess actually it was a rework. To be
Yeah,
fair, it's like good because it's not extremely overtuned, but you can make insane value out of them, especially if you know
right.
what you're doing and you know good turret placement and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, in regards to um, Torb, are you happy with what they've changed since back in the day, super turret?
I won't lie, I do miss throwing the armor packs at people and giving them the cookies, but
Well, now
yeah, I
that would just be broken now.
yeah, I would say it was because Torb was kind of memey like back then, but now he's actually like a viable hero for the most part. But yeah, I mean, I remember when they first actually reworked him, he was broken. They because like his fire rate and everything, he was super busted at first, and it took people a while for them to actually realize that. But once they did, like that's when everyone started playing Torb a lot, and they had to like nerf him a bunch. But yeah, I definitely like the rework a lot because the super turret was fun, but his alt now is a lot, it's a lot more fun. So
Now, I do have to ask a little bit about Junkrat because one of the people in my community is a big Junkrat fan,
okay.
and he's trying to climb out of lower elo. What advice do you give people playing Junkrat?
He's not in a good spot in the game right now whatsoever. So he's really hard to get value out of right now because the game right now is like, well, current meta it's dive, but like it was double sniper and Junkrat in a double sniper is just so hard to get any value out of. And I think like one of the biggest things is to get value out of your concussion mine movement.
Okay.
And it pretty much like his cooldown management is actually really important. Like landing those one shot combos where you hit a squishy with your mine and then you hit him with I don't even know what a projectile out of his normal gun. You
Yeah.
can like hitting those one shots are actually like super super like crucial. But yeah, definitely getting as much value at it as you can out of your movement with your concussion mines is probably like one of the biggest things that separates like low elo junkrats from like higher elo junkrats.
Can you expand on that when you're talking about? Because I've seen a few videos of what you're talking about, but you being the higher level DPS player and the person that plays Junkrat, you can most definitely articulate on it better. When you explain concussion movement, what are you talking about per se?
So yeah, I typically there's certain rollouts you can do where you can literally get behind an entire team. And so you throw down a mine and then you wait until the second one comes back so you can double mine over and you can also attack. You can dive into their backline and you have the possibility to set up a one shot on their support and possibly insta win a team fight like that because I'll use an example. There is a rollout I do on the map Rialto. I go top right on attack and I put a mine down and I double mine over a building. And typically it's the spot you land at is literally right where the supports play around the corner. So I throw a trap down and I try to hit a one shot combo if I can on a support because that can instantly turn a fight in our favor immediately.
So you're talking about the building that is between the two bridges right at the beginning, right?
Yeah, the building that's it's got that little like those two
The,
doorways on the right side.
okay, got the little L-shaped
Yeah.
passageway and the mini and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Um, yeah, because I feel like there's nothing quite as terrifying as a support player to hear a Doom or a Junkrat or even a Tracer or something like that just come like into the back line before you know what's kind of
Yeah.
happened. Um, do you think stuff like that like gets really high value out of Junkrat because people don't expect it?
Yeah, I mean, because they're literally most of the time, they're straight looking at their tanks. They're not focusing on anything else around them, especially that early in the map. Because yeah, they might be looking for a widow flanking on that bridge to like hold an angle, but they're not. They're most of the time not expecting a Junkrat to literally fly into their back line and potentially one shot one of their squishies. Um, so I just think that's where Junkrat holds, a little like that little extra value. But again, at this point in the game, it's so hard to get any value out of him because hit scan pretty much dominates the game right now. So
Now, with that being said, I've seen you playing a lot of Ash lately. Do you like hit scan heroes or?
it's satisfying when you hit the headshots,
Okay.
and when you're not hitting shots, it sucks. Like when I'm hitting shots on Widow and I'm clicking heads, it's exciting. When I'm not and I'm only hitting body shots and then I die to the Widow on cooldown, it's not fun and the hero sucks and it's boring. So I'm super biased about it. Like it's fun when I'm doing well, it's fun, but when I'm not, it's I hate it. So
What do you think? Because I've always kind of wondered this: switching from projectile to hit scan or hit scan to projectile. What do you think are the biggest difficulties?
um that's that's a tricky one. Honestly, just I definitely, first of all, I think switching from hit scan to projectile would be more difficult because projectile, you're more used to leading your targets and shots already. Um, but yeah, I think if a player were to switch over from hit scan to projectile, it'd be a lot more difficult at first.
Okay. Now changing it up a little bit, I want to get back on because I always find myself, especially with friends that play Overwatch, talking about Overwatch a little too much, perhaps. So
Right.
I want to go back to some of the stuff about streaming. Now, you have played other games. As I give you a
Mhm.
shout out, and we're talking about Overwatch, I see you play Apex Legends.
Apex Legends, yep.
Um, I mean, is Overwatch? It is the main game that you play. I know that, but
Yeah.
is it something to where you see yourself playing it with longevity, or are you trying to get out of it, or?
You know, I really like the game, so it's definitely something I could see myself playing with longevity, no matter how much, like, or how many times I'll be like, God, I hate this game. It sucks. But yeah, it's definitely a game it's there's just it's so unique. It's so different from literally any other game. That's why, like, no matter how many times I'll try to like take a break from it or like quit playing the game, you always come back because
Right.
there's literally no other game out that's like it and like the uniqueness that you have with Overwatch.
Now, I always describe it as an FPS MOBA.
Yeah.
Um, what was the draw for you? I mean, was it? I kind of asked this a little bit before, but have you played MOBAs before, strictly FPSs like Counter Strike or Call of Duty?
I literally when I was playing console, majority of the time I was pretty much FPS. Like I would play Halo and Call of Duty. Like that was pretty much it. So I've always been an FPS player. Obviously like I enjoy other variety games like Skyrim and stuff like that. But for the most part, yeah, I enjoy first person competitive shooters.
Now I have to ask you. I mean, it's not a trick question, but look for the right answer. No, what was your favorite Halo?
My favorite Halo probably Halo 3.
Okay, okay, that is. We can keep the
Is
interview
is
going.
that is that the wrong answer? Was that what was I supposed to say?
No, no, no. Anything but like Halo 4.
Yeah,
uh,
no, yeah. Obviously like I started with Halo 2, and I was obsessed with Halo 2, and then Halo 3. I remember hard grinding that game a lot, and it was actually really cool, but because I ended up getting up high enough in rank in like the MLG playlist in matchmaking, and I ended up playing with some of the actual Halo 3 pros at the time.
oh, cool.
So that was something that was really cool for me because at the time I would like watch highlights of the like competitions and stuff like that, and I always thought that was super cool and like something I was interested in. But obviously I never ever took a chance at that route. So
Be Bees is
yeah, I
having a
see
fit.
bees.
To
Yeah,
be to
bees.
to be fair, most people are going to say Halo 2 um, for nostalgia reasons, not necessarily because it was the best in terms of gameplay and stuff like that. I openly admit it wasn't. But for me, Halo 1 was kind of what got it started because I loved the storyline. and there was something hilarious about trying to compete in LAN parties in Halo 1 because like you had
Yeah.
LAN parties have built-in cheats where like you can tell like one of your friends is always looking at your TV screen. I was gonna say monitor, but TV screen because they always know where you're at, like no matter what.
Yeah.
Like you cheating.
No,
So
Beast just likes Halo 2 because he was a goddess for jumping in that game. You guys should all see his YouTube video on it. It's incredible stuff.
oh cool. Um, well, bees, I will at the end of this if you have a YouTube link. Um,
It's such a funny video.
oh, I had a friend. What do they call it? Bee hopping or whatever in Counter Strike.
Yeah,
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 and that's what he uh bees. Oh, is this a meme? This is not actually
yeah.
God tier. It was a meme or something. He jumped
Yeah,
off the map.
he's like 12 years old. Like it's got some goofy edits on it, but yeah, it's just really funny to watch.
Oh, so yeah, so let's hop it over to streaming for a minute too. What
Okay.
was like kind of the pivotal moment that you decided to start pushing? And we kind of talked about this a little bit, so sorry like I said, to rehash it again, but we were not doing the podcast when we were talking about it, so
No, you're fine. But yeah, my store, I was streaming before I even before my previous job, before the store even closed. But so it was just something I would do like after work. I didn't have a lot of time to put, my max effort into it. And then pre-COVID, my store closed down, so I was like, I'm gonna look at this as an opportunity to put, most of my time and energy into streaming, so that I can try and build a following as best as I can.
what have been kind of some of the steps that you've taken that you weren't able to take before your store closed that you've been able to do?
Just more consistent stream schedule, honestly. It would be, sometimes I would plan on streaming when I got off work, but I would be too tired and then I would either go to the gym before work or I would go after work. And sometimes I had to be at work super early in the morning next time. So it would be no stream until, however long after I got off work. But definitely a more consistent schedule, I think helped me a lot. And that was, pretty much one of the better things that came out from it.
I always ask people this with regards to when they start talking about schedules and stuff. Do you think um, it's more important to have frequency in terms of days or in terms of hours? In other words, do you think it'd be more important to do like 2 to 3 days a week at like 8 to 10 hours, or do 5 to 6 days a week at like 3 or 4 hours?
See, that's tricky because even though like I was able to stream more consistently, I literally had the most random stream times and schedule. Like there would be there was like a couple of weeks where I wanted to make sure I started my stream before 5 o'clock because I wanted to do stuff earlier in the day. I wanted to get up and like try and be more as productive as I could, so that I could just put the rest of my time and energy into streaming for the night. But yeah, there would be times where I would stream for like 3 hours, and then there would be other times where I would stream for like 18. So it was literally like it was consistent in a sense that I was able to just strictly stream more often and for longer periods of time. But if I were to say anything, I would probably say more days a week is probably better at at whatever time, as long as it's not like too unreasonable. But I would just say probably more days a week streaming would helps more.
Something kind of interesting is for long sessions. How do because when I play long sessions, I'm playing a single player game most
Yeah.
often. How do you keep yourself going in a competitive game for long sessions?
Um, good old Bang energy drinks. Those are my saving grace. Sometimes I try to like drink them like not as often as I can, but as little as I can because they're not great for you to drink. Like that many of them, like over regardless over like that period of time. But yeah, just honestly staying hydrated too. Like drinking water generally helps. Like making sure you're eating enough still, because I mean, if you're eating and then you're gonna be burning that, and it's just gonna be fuel for you. Um, that sounds kind of cringe when I say it, because like needing fuel to game, but it's true. That's how it works. It'll energize you. So
No, since I've last couple of weeks, I've made it a big stride to cut out a lot of sugar and stuff for dieting, and I've noticed a lot of improvement for like mental clarity and focus. And so I think diet's important in anything you do. I don't think it's
Yeah.
just, a weightlifting thing. Um, has to see Rain's. All right, we'll be posting OnlyFans account here, and no, I'm
Yeah.
joking. Dude could shrug him.
Oh,
uh,
bees.
it's most people do arms and legs day. Rain's like it's crap day. Uh,
Yeah.
but so with that actually kind of brings up all memes aside, that does bring up something important. I think outside of streaming, I think it is very important. We touched on diet and stuff like that a little bit, to kind of a little tacitly
Hmm.
there, but I do think a lot of streamers forsake their physical health.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion, but I think a lot of people don't put any effort into getting outside, going for even just a walk or something
Hmm.
like that. How important do you think it is for you to to have, stuff outside of streaming, like goals, and even if it's, you were memeing about, on yourself earlier about just sleeping and going to the gym, but still going to the gym is an important goal. Like
Right.
how much do you think that attributes to, you know, success in streaming?
I definitely think it helps a lot because for me personally, like there was a couple weeks time or for a while, like a month or two, when they first did lockdown happened. They closed the gym. It was I pretty much wasn't working out, and so for pretty much 2 months, I felt like garbage because like I was so used to working out 6 days a week and like really consistently and constantly, and to just completely cut it out because it was so hard to actually like maintain that. I lost a ton of muscle, which sucked. And once I started going back, like you just feel so much better. And about you sleep better, and yeah, your body aches at that point in time, but later along the like later down the line, it thanks you for it. So I definitely think maintaining some type of physical activity outside of streaming helps a long way.
Yeah, I completely concur with that. Um, yeah, before too long, Bees is gonna be like IRL stream gym.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard that a couple times, but I don't know if I could ever do that one.
If it was a personal gym, I wouldn't feel bad about it, but I would always feel awkward, like with people around me. That
Exactly.
that
Yeah.
that would be the because I just wouldn't want there to be some guy. I mean, I'm overweight now, and I'm getting back into the swing of things. But some guy who's just got into the gym for the first time ever potentially. He's trying to work on some weight issues in the background or something in chat.
Exactly, and he's
Me, me.
got like self confidence issues and stuff like
Yeah,
that. Doesn't really want to be seen. Yeah, that's like a whole another reason why it's some there's a lot of people there who just don't want to be on camera, don't want to be filmed, and
yeah,
like you got to think there's some people there who even they don't like to look at the mirrors because they don't want to see how they look when they work out. So
yeah. No, I think a lot of times too, um, mirrors from the background that I have, mirrors are also something where people will focus on what they look like instead of what things feel like.
yeah,
And
100%.
that's a bit of a trap to fall into with weightlifting because you don't necessarily want to look Sashi, you don't necessarily want to look and like for instance, me taking me personally, rather than giving an example of me personally, I have a curve in my spine, so
Hmm.
I actually put myself at risk in certain postures if I try to forcefully straighten my back out rather than
Right.
having that natural curve. I put myself more at risk to try to. I mean, you always want to brace and stuff like that, but uh, trying to force my spine to look like, you know, uh, the example in the textbook, so to speak.
Yeah.
Um, but all right, yeah, I'm trying to focus on the string stuff, but it's so cool to be like, yeah, weightlifting, Overwatch.
Right. No,
Yeah,
no. I
what
mean,
were we here for?
you're perfectly fine. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's all stuff I do. So yeah, you can
Yeah.
ask away about any of it.
Um, and I do want to ask, when did you get affiliate?
I got affiliate. I think at the start of April. I remember tweeting about it, but I'm pretty sure it was around April is when I finally got affiliate.
Okay. And by the way, for those of you, let me go ahead and plug again. If you haven't had a chance to check out his stream, this is the link to it. Always put those in throughout the out the conversation.
Mhm.
Um, when you got affiliate, I always like to ask people kind of um, what that experience was like because I have my own personal thoughts, but I definitely want to ask what yours was.
For me, it was like it was a really good feeling, like a real like a sense of a kind of accomplishment, because this is something that I would love to obviously do like long term as my job. Like, who wouldn't want to play video games as their job, like stream as their job? Like, yeah, I know it can be taxing and everything, but it was a really good feeling because it was kind of like reassurance, like this is possible. Like I can do this if I keep grinding and keep doing what I have been doing because it's obviously working and I was, getting shown some success. So,
Well, I think for me personally, I think one of the cool things was is that it's the first you go to your job, you get that application, they call you back, they say, "Hey, listen, we're going to hire you." It's kind of one of those feelings where that's awesome, but it doesn't really, I don't think, for a lot of people hit until you've walked through the doors.
right.
And I think that's kind of what affiliate is for a lot of people, where they walk through the doors and then they're like, "Oh, wait a minute. This is actually real now. I
Yeah.
actually get to make money playing video games or, get the emotes and all that stuff." 'Cause I'm going to be honest, like one of the biggest things for me is the emotes. I could,
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool to get, a financial incentive, but at the same time I'm like I need more otter emotes. Like I
Right.
you know, um but yeah, it's a very surreal feeling because this is something, especially because I'm a boomer. This is something that you got told when you were a kid that would never happen. Like nobody's going to pay you to play video games. Nobody's going to, even professional gaming. For
Right.
Halo or Overwatch, that stuff was a pipe dream. You
Hmm.
know, and now we're afforded so many opportunities with stuff like this. I think it is awesome. Yes, there are negative sides to the internet. There always will be. I don't think
Right.
that I think that's inescapable. But I think that having the opportunity to pursue, for what a lot of us, as you said, would be a dream job, I think is pretty awesome. And Twitch is definitely not a perfect platform. They do stuff that I don't agree with,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I we wouldn't have this opportunity without stuff like Twitch. So,
Right.
you know. Um, so of course your next goal, I assume, is getting partner at some point in the future.
Yeah, at some point for sure. Yeah.
So have you kind of planned some steps to take to work towards that?
I've been trying to, get myself like motivate myself to, upload more frequently to YouTube and stuff because I think that maybe expanding my content output.
Oh, do you want to
Uh
plug your YouTube channel? If you're in the chat,
yeah, I can. I wish
let me know when
I
you
could do
have the
this.
link. I'll have to permit.
Uh yeah, let me just go to my channel real quick.
Like the sudden flash from the computer and the
Yeah, you can definitely tell I'm out here trying to get the link. There it is. Okay. Yeah, it's in my Twitch. It's in my one of my panels on Twitch.
Okay,
But yeah, I have the link right here.
cool. All right, go ahead.
Uh,
Um, I think from what a lot of people have told me, reaching out into other avenues of different forms of social media is a big component of growing
mm-hmm.
on Twitch. Have you seen success growing from or interconnected success with Twitch and YouTube, or
I've seen more interconnected success personally from Twitch and Twitter.
okay.
I'm a big Twitter guy. I'm pretty active on Twitter like all the time, whether it be like posting clips or just interacting with other Overwatch players that I've met on ladder like through streaming. Because at first, obviously, like I had a very small following, and shut up, bees.
I
But
didn't
yeah,
I didn't really hear.
I had a relatively small following, and I think when I started like my Twitch, I like most of the people that followed me on Twitter at the time were like people I knew actually in real life. So I think at the time I had like 300 followers or something like that. And now I'm close to 500.
Awesome.
So I think that in the course of time I've been streaming, I've gained, majority, like a lot of followers, definitely through like marketing on Twitter. So,
Okay. What in particular do you think that there's something you do on Twitter? Like, have you spent a lot of time tweeting about Overwatch, or just meeting,
um,
connect, like networking through like the community, or
yeah, I definitely it's pretty much just been mainly like tweeting about Overwatch. There was it wasn't the nicest video, but there was a video of me tweeting about Elmo, an encounter I had with Elmo at the time when he was still
mm,
Masters on DPS, and it got like 19,000 views, which was insane to me. I wasn't expecting that at all, but I got like 50 to 60 followers literally just based off that. But yes, most of my tweets are literally just Overwatch oriented, and just interactions with a bunch of other streamers and people that I've met on ladder so
and
far.
you've been on Noob Hunter too, right?
Yeah, that also helped a lot. There was like a 2 week time frame where I was on Noob Hunter like once a video, and it was insane. And I kept getting followers from that too.
I think I remember because one of them was the Hanamura Junkrat tire, right?
Yep, the
Where you
the
were like,
video,
I don't even
the
feel bad about
exploit.
this. Yeah, I don't even feel bad
Yep.
about this. What is that exploit again? You explained
Um,
it to me and then I completely forgot.
There is, I guess, like a pixel bug on Hanamura's second point, where if people are going, top right, it'd be your top left if you're defending. You can literally send your rip tire through the wall,
Hmm.
and instead of people going over the roof and like dropping it down on the team, you can literally just send it straight through the wall, and they're not ready for it, and it's still not patched. So,
You know,
in the most recent patch, they literally patched a bunch of bugs, and I was like, I wonder if they fix this one. It's still in the game, so who knows how long it'll take them to patch it.
that's hilarious. It took them like 2 seasons to patch the motorcycle in Junkertown. I don't know if you
Yeah,
remember that. And if you like, what was it? It's like if you froze the motorcycle and then destroyed it or something like that, it ended the
yeah, wouldn't it like
match.
cancel the game? Yeah,
Yeah, and people didn't want to play Junkertown, and so they would do that, and
that's
then
so funny.
Blizzard had to be like, anybody that does this is gonna get banned. I'm like, you put it in the game, like,
Right?
you
Yeah,
know, we should ban you.
yeah. Seriously.
It's your game. Go fix it.
Yeah,
Um,
their dev team is not the greatest, but that's okay.
yeah.
I like to think that they're trying their best.
You froze it until it broke. Okay, that's what it was. Okay, yeah. No, and see from like, cause I love speed running and stuff like that. I don't do it a whole lot myself personally, but stuff like that's always hilarious. Like the fact to this day that the speed run strat for Skyrim is basically to use a bucket to like glitch out and hop over like one
Yeah.
of the main like gates or whatever that you need 5 hours of gameplay to get a key for, and you just hop over it with the damn bucket. It's still one of the funniest things to me.
Yeah.
That and Spyro. The original Spyro is so obsessed with keeping you in bounds, especially in the first area, that if you try to go out of bounds hard enough, it will keep you in bounds by throwing you to the final boss. Um,
Say one of the only like I guess most recent speed runs that I know of. I came across a YouTube video of it. It's the Outlast one, like the first Outlast.
okay.
It's the very beginning of the game. You just like go to the right of this like courtyard you're in, and you just hop over this wall, and it literally immediately drops you into the end part of the game. It's like I don't know. I forget how long it would take you to get there, but you literally just get to the end of the game and you finish it in like 5 7 minutes, something like that. It's ridiculous.
That's hilarious. Well, have you seen? Have you ever played Amnesia: The Dark Descent?
I have not. I've had a bunch of people tell me to play it, but it isn't.
But you've
That
heard
I
of
think
it.
it's a yeah. I've heard of it.
Okay. The glitch for that is you can actually get up on the ceiling of the game, so to speak, so you can see everything that's happening down below and just kind of like walk along the platforms of the ceiling to
Oh,
just kind of
really?
get to the end game. Yeah, it becomes a tightrope simulator.
That's
Uh,
funny.
do you play horror games at all, or?
Yeah, that's like my honestly preferred go-to when I'm not playing Overwatch or like any
Awesome.
FPS game. If I'm switching up to variety, I prefer some type of horror game, whether it be like solo or with friends, because it's just I think it's a lot more fun that way.
What what was the last good horror game that you played?
Outlast 2.
Okay.
I not honestly not too long ago. I think it might have been a month or two ago. I did Outlast 2, and that game that was a game where I individually made highlights for, and I put them up on my YouTube because there was some really funny parts on there. But yeah, that game definitely it genuinely scared me at points.
Do you have any plans in the future to play any horror games?
Um, Honestly, not like anything set in stone like that. I'm waiting for X date to do. It's just pretty much most of the time. It's whenever I get sick and tired of Overwatch and I can't stand it, I just switch to horror.
Okay. Well, let me know if you need any recommendations because I've been looking for some myself, and I found actually a couple of good ones. Actually, there's one I saw it the other day. It's a four-player paranormal investigation game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, up to four players. I think it's called Phantasmophobia or something like that. Um, and it looked really really good. But yeah, multiplayer horror game would be like awesome in my opinion.
I think the last horror game that I looked at that I had plans on playing is called Visage. I've heard that
Oh
that's a
yeah, yeah.
really good one. But I did Outlast 2 first before that because that game, I guess it's like really psycho. Like it's, from a mental standpoint in that particular game, it's really crazy. So I definitely will. I'm sure I'll play it sometime in the future, but I have no like set date on when I'm going to do that.
Visage is good. The only problem I had with it was the price tag when it was out because I think it was like
Oh, really?
$40 or something. Like if it goes down a little bit, I would definitely recommend getting it. It's good. It's a good game. I've played that in the Outlast games off stream, and I think I like Outlast one better than Outlast two. Just because of the whole gameplay aspect was kind of something new, and I'm always a
Yeah.
sucker for found footage movies because I think that they're either really good or hilariously bad.
Yeah.
There's not really an in between. Did you see that? There's literally nothing over there, Dave.
Right. Yeah.
So, um, but I got one that I told Sashi about that I think you should play. It's super cheap and it's only a couple hours long, so you could definitely play it in like half a stream or something like that.
Okay.
It's called Love Sam, Love, comma Sam. I think it's like $2 on Steam.
Let's see. I've got the trailer pulled up, but I will definitely watch that at another time. I'll
Okay,
definitely make sure to check it out though.
it's turning into a React channel. Um, but yeah, so we talked about consistency, networking, and stuff like that. Is there anything else that you kind of have planned to like get towards that partner goal, or?
um, I honestly no. I just
Okay.
kind of just sticking with Overwatch, just trying to I guess meet more people, and because it's happened to me a couple times, and it wasn't until recently where 'cause when I was first like started my streaming, I would literally plug no shame plug my Twitch and like Gen Chat after games that I would win, and people would follow me. And there were a couple times recently where people like have recognized my in-game name and actually like came by the stream and followed. So that's a really good feeling to me is like getting recognized, even though it's like really small. So I just think honestly, if I just keep grinding Overwatch, I think slowly and slowly it'll hopefully it'll work me towards that. But again, because that's literally like what most of my following is. It's people who play Overwatch and like they'll play like watch Overwatch. So
Yeah, see, I when I first started streaming and did Overwatch, I would do the same thing. I would plug in match chat and stuff like that. Honestly, I didn't really have a bad experience. most of the people came by were pretty cool. I had one dude come by. He's like, I was gonna hard troll you. He goes, and then you were really nice, and I felt guilty about it. I was like, that's right, gotcha. um, Sashi says, what? Wait, I missed what he means. Oh, I'll let him talk about his favorite heroes again.
I am pretty much a Torb. I'd like to think I'm a projectile DPS player, but I played mostly Torbjorn and Junkrat, even though Junkrat's pretty bad right now. I used to be a tank player, and I used to main Zarya and Orisa, but yeah, I play DPS now because it's a lot more fun than tank.
He went from Bubbles and Horse to uh,
To Rat and Dwarf.
yeah, Rattendorf. By the way, fun fact: since you were a Junkrat player, did you know that he is 6'6"?
I did not know he's 6'6".
Yes.
Jesus.
Apparently, with the peg leg and basically, like, I'm not making fun, but like a really bad case of scoliosis. But somebody did the because Genji is in the no, he is Sashi. He legitimately is because I think Genji's 5'9". So somebody did the height differential of Junkrat and Genji together with Junkrat
Yeah.
hunched over like that, and if he were to actually stand up, like what his actual height would be, yeah, he'd be 6'6".
I always like to joke that Junkrat looks like a crackhead, and that's why I play him because sometimes I look like a crackhead and I play him like a crackhead.
Oh
So
God, I uh, I just think that it's funny that Blizzard basically Junkrat is like the literal troll character of Overwatch because like in
yeah,
Blizzard that was kind of with World of Warcraft came out that was kind of one of the running memes because the trolls are always hunched over, and then when they
yeah,
stand up they go from like 6 feet to 8 feet tall, like they gain like 2 feet on their height.
yeah.
Uh, that can socially function. We all have, no. You
Love
know
to
what?
hate junk.
One of my because I guess because it was funny and not super emotional, but I think one of the best videos they put out was the Junkrat Roadhog um, video.
Yeah,
And
I thought that was a really funny short. And I also didn't know that they were like kind of partners in crime.
yeah, well, they also have the skin of Roadhog where he was like a sergeant or something in like the Aussie military, like during the Omnic Revolution or whatever.
Yeah, the militia skin.
Yeah, yeah, the militia. Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I think that they could do stuff. Blizzard has always been a company that I love their storytelling. I don't always like their gameplay and the way that they handle things, but their storytelling is usually really good.
That's what like I'm excited. Like I'm not like big PVE guy. Like obviously like literally only play competitive in Overwatch. But I think it'd be like yeah, I know Overwatch 2 is taking literally forever to come out, but I think it'd all be worth it if there's actually like some really good lore and like storylines behind what they plan to release, which is kind of what I'm hoping they'll make up for.
I'm just wondering if there's going to be that awkward moment where we're like, "Hey, how come Winston's not in the game anymore?" It's like, "Ah, Winston's dead."
Yeah,
Like at this juncture in the story, Winston died, and you're just like, "I'm playing a dead hero, literally." Like, I don't like this feeling anymore. This is some Dragon Ball
yeah.
Z shit. We're going to the future. Um, but yeah, what are you most excited for with Overwatch 2? Would it be the lore expansion?
It would either be the lore or I just love when they release the new heroes. Honestly, like being able to play like with a new hero because I'm every time one comes out, I'm like, all right, this is gonna be the one that I'm gonna main and I'm gonna be like really good with, and then I always play him and I'm like, wow, I really suck with this hero. I'm not gonna play him ever, and that's like literally what happened with Echo. I was like, this hero looks really cool and busted, and I'm gonna play her. And I was terrible with her, so I was like, never mind. I'm just gonna stick with what I know.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. Mostly I just stick with tanks, but I
Yeah.
always want to go back to Winston Ryan.
Winston's
Um,
so fun. I love playing Winston so much.
yeah, he's a really cool, uh, unique character, especially for an FPS.
Yeah.
And then Ryan's like your traditional tank. I don't know. All Ryan's really missing is a taunt.
Yeah.
But yeah, I, it's funny because Blizzard really is kind of the company that sometimes you have a love-hate relationship with. You love some of the stuff that they put out, and then you're like, and then you did this.
Yeah, that's why like I've had mixed, everyone had mixed feelings about Brig because yeah, I like I said, Goat's meta was literally my favorite meta in the game, and she's the entire reason why the game had so many issues because of her. She like dominated the game from a meta standpoint for so long. But Goats was fun, Smile. So
It was. No, I completely concur. And I think the reason that she was fun and, or not fun, but she was fine in the Ghost meta was because you could kill her.
yeah,
But it was like the only scenario where you could, where you had the melee from Ryan negating her armor on top of Discord, on top of, you know, fully charged Zarya, et cetera, because she's a, or she was, she's not anymore, but she was a damn raid boss, especially when she
yeah, she
ulted.
was. She was literally like better than some like most tanks in the game at the time.
Oh
So
yeah, when she came out, she just friggin' walloped Reinhardt, poor Ryan,
she'd
you know.
she'd 1v1 Reinhardt and win, and it was just like okay, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's like nothing like being a, you know, 7'5", 600 pounds of
Yeah,
armor, like
stout
steel,
German man.
and
Getting,
knocked out by a 150-pound Swedish girl.
yeah,
Oh, like I feel like this is something wrong.
right. So yeah, it's a 200 HP or whatever she was, 250 HP support hero, quote unquote support hero. Shouldn't be able to, kill a 600 HP or 400 HP tank.
Yeah. So, um, well, going forward, what are your plans for the stream?
Um, hmm. This is so basic, but probably just play Overwatch. Honestly,
No.
I really don't know. I mean, I'll probably start branching out into maybe more games. I don't know. Bees keeps bugging me to play Apex with him, so I've been branching out to a little bit of Apex. So maybe I'll become a mini battle royale streamer. Who knows? I think the games are kind of boring, the battle royale games, but it might be a nice little change of pace. So I might be throwing up a little more variety.
Someone told me
In
that
them.
Darwin Project was really good, but
Really,
yeah,
I've never heard of that.
it's on Steam. It's a
Okay.
battle royale, but you use a lot more basic, like the most powerful thing I think in the game is a bow.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Um, you can plant like traps and stuff like that. But then again, the one that's just taken off out of nowhere now is Spellbreak.
Yeah.
That's the one that's super popular. I know
At the moment. Mm-hmm.
Evil Toaster went. It's always funny when people are like, if you stop playing this game, you're gonna lose all your viewers, and then somebody gains like 5 times the viewership that they had because they
Yeah.
switched games.
Somebody was just telling me earlier today. One of my friends was telling me that he's literally like gaining viewership from switching games. So I
Yeah,
mean, good. That's good for him though.
I think what it boils down to, and I've said this from day one, it's the streamer, not the game.
Yeah,
Um, be-
100%.
because if you talk about oversaturation, well, at any given point, the top viewers, so whether it's Tim the Tapman, um, Shroud's back, Ninja's back, et cetera, they they might all be playing the same game, but yet they all share, so they all share like that top. It's not even 1%. It's probably like a millionth of a percent of the numbers. Um,
I'm
and
sorry, Nate. It was my buddy Nate right there.
one of my friends, oh,
Oh man.
well, here's the thing, Sashi. They might not be now, but I think a lot of them, I think they found their rhythm, and so they're not as experimental in what they try anymore with games and stuff like that. Um, so I don't know, but the thing about it is one moment this person over here might be, the next big thing, and then there might be somebody else who is. I mean, it's one of the beauties of social media and growing as an entertainer, and it's also one of the uh, pitfalls, if you will, and that's that there's like a lot of people that started out on YouTube that were, um, and again, I don't want to name names and denigrate people, but they were big names, and then
Yeah.
they just fell off because they couldn't keep up with the times. Once the
Mhm.
reaction videos became big, they weren't good at the reaction videos. Or once, if they were good at the reaction videos, then once the live blogging came out, they weren't good at that. I mean, so it's always about what people can transition to. But I think a lot of the people in the top spot, I think their popularity, even if they're not entertaining to you personally, I think a lot of their popularity comes down to now that they've found their rhythm. Number one. Number two, I think that there's a lot of people. It's just like if they announced, well, it's just like, okay, we've had how many damn Batman movies now? But everybody's going to go see the one with Robert Pattinson.
Yeah,
Why? Because it's Batman.
exactly.
And I think a lot of the bigger streamers, people go to check them out because they're the bigger streamers and they want to see how you get to that point where you're, bringing in 30,000, 40,000 viewers. I think so. There's that allure. I think there's the allure of they do have their fan base from back in the day.
Mhm.
And I also think that um, it is Sashi. It is. That's the only thing that kind of would bother me about being a top streamer like that is that I don't want to ever feel like I'm in a position where I'm forced to network or intermingle between people for popularity's sake.
Mhm.
Like I still want to
Yeah.
feel like I can go hang out with my friends. Like if I had 30K viewer average, which I mean obviously would be, you couldn't even pinch me and wake me up. I'd have to get like just like smacked with a pillow or something.
Yeah.
Tempur-Pedic so that it, left a imprint. Um, but I'd still want to go hang out with my friends if they had 10 viewers.
Right.
It wouldn't, to me, I don't know. But I've always said from day one that, my sweet spot, if I were to pick like a viewership, um, it would be like a couple hundred viewers. Enough to
Yeah.
where you could potentially make, because if you're going to do this for full time, the evil reality of money is that you have to make a certain amount of money to do a job,
Mhm.
and to be able to pay because, well, bills.
Right. Yeah.
Um, but I personally think that when you get to that spot, it's just like somebody who makes, let's say, what I forget what the statistics are, but like, um, it's something like the average person, if they had, which would blow all our minds to have this amount of money, I know, but the average person, something like if they had like $10 million, they'd be set for the rest of their life. It's something
Right.
like that. Once you get to like go from 100 million to like 500 million to like 3 billion to five, like you'll never ever spend it in your lifetime.
No.
I just want enough to be able to hang out with my friends still, not, be able to keep up with chat. And I think that that's the goal for a lot of people,
Yeah.
um, is to be able to make a living, be comfortable, um, not have to worry about where your next meal is going to come from, and then
Mhm.
hang out with their friends. Because I definitely I don't want to be that person, and I never plan on being that person. That's like, oh well, you don't have 30,000 followers now or 30,000 viewers now. Like I can't host you. Like that's
Yeah.
just not going to happen. What are your thoughts on that though? Right.
um, I honestly think like to me one of like the perfect examples of that I think is I think Tim the Tatman was like one of the prime examples of like he's literally like obviously he hasn't made now but he started in Overwatch and he mainly gained the majority of his following because he was super entertaining. So going back to like what you said about the not necessarily the game but the personality of the streamer brings in views or like it's what makes people want to stick around. That's why I think Tim's one of the most ideal like examples of that because to me he's super entertaining and he literally his his viewership skyrocketed once he went to Fortnite, and he can switch between like any game and still maintain 20 to 30K on any daily basis. He'll be like in just chatting, and he'll have 40K people just watching him talk. Like yeah, it would be super overwhelming to me. I mean, because obviously I'm a super small streamer, but like having that many people in the chat, like I don't even know how the hell he keeps up with all that at the same time. But
He has an amazing amount of um, amazing amount of amazing. He has an amazing amount of wonderful mods. I'll tell you that's step one.
yeah,
Mods are definitely one of the key lifebloods of any stream. Um, yeah, I mean, I think that but one of the cool things is with stuff like this is that we can always look at a streamer or an entertainer and we can say, okay, well, what do they bring to the table that I enjoy, and what do they bring to the table that I don't enjoy, or what's missing from their stream that I would like to integrate into my stream. Because you can definitely always learn from. I see this ears is kind of crooked. Hang on, drunk rabbit.
you're
Um,
good.
I no, real talk though. I was talking about giving up sugar. My mom brought me back from her mini vacation moonshine taffy, so that's gonna be
Oh
something
wow,
later.
yeah.
um,
The moonshine's typically really strong too, so.
oh yeah. You ever gotten drunk off taffy before? I only had a few pieces. Um, but yeah, I think that we can always kind of pull a little bit over here and a little bit over there, kind of like the little magpies of entertainment. We're taking what we like and building the nest out of it.
Right.
I think that it is something worth noting when you're watching a popular streamer or just entertainer in general. Um, to always kind of ask yourself, why don't I like what they do, or why do I like what they do?
Yeah.
I think that's always a crucial aspect, especially if you want to get into this, because introspection is like the biggest aspect of it, is being able to objectively take a step back and be like, all right, why have I stopped growing, or why do I continue to grow? I think that that's all, stuff that's integral, especially if you want to do it professionally.
Exactly. I 100% agree.
Um, okay, I think now that we're going to go or now that we're kind of getting into this stuff again, we're going to go to the Q&A portion if you would like to do that.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay, so if anybody has any questions for Rain, let's go ahead and drop them in chat. I actually have one to get us started while people are thinking of something they might want to ask. How did you
Okay.
come up with the name?
I was honestly, I was expecting this question, but
Got it for last.
yeah, I back in the day, I was a big Call of Duty player, and there was a guy that I actually worked with, and he was like, it was back in Black Ops 3. He wanted me and he wanted me to join his Call of Duty clan Black Ops 3. So I was like, okay, cool. But he was like, you have to change your name, and I was like, I'm not paying for a name change just to join a Call of Duty clan, because I was like, I'm not doing that anymore, because those Call of Duty clans literally never last. And he goes, I'll pay for it for you. And I was like, all right, perfectly fine. And I just remember I was looking up. It just I think it just came to me naturally, honestly. And because I like just the definition of it. It's like to dominate, like rain. And it's you can do cool play on words like make it rain, but spell it REIGN, which is actually what I did for one of my like really old Black Ops 3 montages. But I always thought that I was really dominant, and like I would, because I was better than average on Call of Duty. So I like to think I was in the certain percentage of the top half of the player base. But pretty much that's just how I came up with it, is that I thought I was better than most people at Call of Duty. So I was like, you know, I'm Rain.
We got to get you a T-shirt now that says "Make It Rain."
Yeah.
I told Reed he needs to get a slogan that says "Left him on red."
That
Uh,
would be perfect for him. That would be so good.
um, but yeah, I like the name a lot too. And you said that you added the O to it because somebody else had Rain take it.
Yeah, I think there's like a Twitch channel. It hasn't broadcasted in like 8 years or something on Twitch. So
Oh,
I don't know if it's like completely inactive. But hey, if I ever make my way towards partner, that would be something I would love to just knock out the O. I already it used to be It's Rain, but it was two I's. It was IITS Rain, and I just thought that OhReign looked and sounded a lot cleaner. So that's why I changed it to OhReign a little while ago.
Right, if it's Roman numerals, it would look like two T's rain.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So
uh,
I was like, this looks a lot better just having it as OhReign instead of It's Rain.
does anybody have any questions? We might have been too thorough, buddy. We might have.
It's perfectly fine.
Hey, what's going on, Logic? How you doing, buddy? How's it going, Ninny? Friggin' the hot dog emote. Um. Oh yeah, Logic just got here. No, Logic. That's when you're supposed to like just completely troll and be like, "Yeah, so who's this dude?" That's my question. I got
Yeah,
I got here late. Who's this guy?
funny.
So I actually have another question though. How'd you meet Sun?
Um, through Overwatch actually, and that was back when I was a tank player. I was doing what I usually would did. I locked the horse. And I think at this time actually, I think Mora was meta, and we got into he was really down bad on SR, like really down bad at the time. He had fallen from like I think it was like 4,300 or something. It was like 3,700,
Hmm.
and I think we won the game and we duoed afterwards, and we just slowly became better and better friends. And then I met a ton of other people through him because he had been on PC for I think he's been on Twitch for like 2 years and like on PC for longer. So yeah, we just happened to hop into a random rank game with each other.
All right, I got one more question for you. Is that a mask in the background?
Where
On the like to me, it's the top left. Oh, chat can't see it. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on.
Oh my god, yeah, I know what you're talking. It is. It's just
This in here, in this general direction.
yeah, I know what you're talking
Ah.
about. Yes, it is. It's I think it's it's something that I think I made a long time ago
Something
for
out
like
of
a
Saw Part Five. Like this is.
yeah. It's something I made a long time ago. I think for a project in like grade school. It's like a paper mache mask, and I think I guess my dad wanted to save it or something like that. So I when I moved back
Oh.
in a while, he's just this has just been here for so long. It's just been literally hanging there for forever.
Um. Okay. So does anybody again? Does anybody have any questions? Oh, I'm all the way down here. Hang on. Hang on. I gotta move this back up. All right. All right. There we go. So, Ninny, ask a question. I don't know. She probably already left.
Hey, don't feel obligated. That's perfectly fine to me. Trust me.
So, all right. Well, I guess what I would say if nobody has any questions, is there anything that you would like to say or discuss that you didn't get a chance to?
Honestly, I think we covered pretty much most of it. Only thing I could say is that I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope I wasn't too boring. But yeah, if you guys want to ever stop by sometime, feel free.
Yep. And let me give the shout out once again. And I no, I think you did an awesome job, dude.
I
Um,
appreciate that. Thanks, man.
so as always is tradition, are you going to stream?
I don't think so. I already did one a little earlier today. It's a little late for me. If I do play, it's probably just going to be off stream for
Okay.
the rest of the night.
So as is tradition, then we let if the guests themselves aren't going to be streaming, we let them pick who we raid.
Oh, we already gave. Saw Joey already got one earlier. Or Sun Caduce already got one earlier. So let's give one to my boy Remy OW.
Okay. Can you can you spell it in chat? I was gonna say put the link. I'd have to give you perms, but if you can just spell it in chat.
Actually, I sorry, I changed it. Go ahead and host fire.
Oh, okay. Fire. All right, I got you.
Yeah.
Um, I was about ready to give her a shout out. Hang on, that's not the command. Okay. So we're all right. Logic. Same to you, buddy. Much love. All right, everybody. We're gonna host Fire X. She is an Overwatch player, on a support player. Plays other supports, I think, but mostly loves to play Ana. GM player. I think she's playing on a lower ranked account right now, though.
Yeah, she's
Uh,
just having fun.
super cool person. As always, is most of the people that we know in the Ribnit community. They are awesome, super sweet, warm and welcoming. And yeah, be sure to drop her a follow, say hi. And in the meantime, same for Rain. Be sure to give him a follow. Stop by. He is always an awesome and chill dude. Very easy to get along with. Yeah, I cannot say enough good about him. Super happy to have met him through Reed, and thank you so much for doing this, Cass. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
So, with that being said, gonna send you all over to Fire now, and yeah, be good, everybody. Might stream a little later. Might do some Overwatch myself. Don't know yet. We're gonna see how this Moonshine Taffy goes, and see what this experiment's like. In the meantime, love you all. Have a good night, and I will catch you all later on. All right, brother man. Let me just end stream.
All